Right, well, this is the fourth of the sets from the Radio Ham acquaintance in Sheffield, and the video switcher has had a firmware update. I don't know, that's what it said it was doing. Perhaps it won't lose picture-in-picture these days. Faulty 7s. I've previously attempted to change one of these. Oh. Well, that sounds like he failed to check if the resistors feeding it were duff. So it's a Midland 3001. We did the 4001 on the previous video. So if we can get through this, I can get these back to him and we can get on to box sequence 2, which I recall being Cobra remote sets. You know, where it's all in a handset. Is it 75? Something like that. Don't think there'll be anything I can do with them, but we can always see. Put the soldering iron on ready. Oh, he's already unsoldered the speaker. What a nice person. So, we'll plug that in. Switch on the power supply. Power it up. Okay, so he's got that bar out on the display. And the side things, oh no, they don't, they're not secured, are they? I don't know. Right, we'll switch it off, we'll get the front off. Oh, we're talking about pulling knobs off. So, yeah, of course I've got exceptionally strong fingers because of being a church organist. So I can usually... and this is going to be a good demonstration. No, I can't get any of those off easily, so this is exactly when... normally I use a piece of string, but I've got a bit of wire here I might be able to use. Well, that didn't work. It it snapped. Right, well, I better go looking for a piece of string then, hadn't I? Right, well, we'll give it another go with some wire because I've been in the organ workshop, I can't find any string. When Mr. C comes, I'll ask him if he's got any string. Otherwise, we'll order some string and this video will go out several days later. So the idea is to wrap more and more string around, and then it will be forcing it off the shaft. In fact, I can see if I can pull it. I was going to pretend, you know, I was going to do this demonstration by pretending the knob was tight, but in fact this is one that it is better with string, but we might get it off. There we are, done it. So that's one. I'll be charging him for so many meters of wire, I think. So the next one, see, we'll force that under. And that's enough to pull that one off. See whether I can manage that without. No, I can't. This is a awkward one. That's it. Now this knob is a different kettle of fish because we can't get anything underneath that. But luckily our super strong fingers have managed to get that one off, even though I couldn't with the others, so good. So that what was going to be a silly demonstration turned out to be a real demonstration, even if I didn't have any string. But I must order some because we need a ball of string in the organ workshop, and we need a ball of string in here. So I don't know whether there's a segment actually out on this or whether there's a, or what, you know, it's a matter of working out what's happened. So I'll go looking at the wiring carefully first, and then if we need to see if we've got a circuit somewhere which tells us which segment goes where, we can do that later. So I'll pause the video for now. Right, so I've been over 14 miles to Colsterworth to see Quotageous. David said he'd got a display, so we'll put this in from David. Trying to track down these without a decimal point with 14 pins, I don't know. So of course they're drying up, aren't they? Now David's tested this, so we'll get it fitted, and it's quite a faff because it's a bundle of wires. Right, so let's see whether I've got it right. Well, that's a good start. Excellent. We'll go to channel 20 and we'll be able to start the tune-up. So I'll put a few screws in it just to help. It's a bit of a faff with so many wires, but it's done. Right. Channel 20. And let's see what we've got on transmit. Three and a half watts. dropping as the set warms up, which is normal. 3.4 now. Three and a half. Oh, have another go with that. There we have exactly 4. These radios don't have low power, as I've said before. It was a bit of a boo-boo, and had anyone complained, Plustronics would have had to do something to provide 4 watts. I think there was some optional external attenuator, which it could have offered for free, because it was a mistake. It was a legal requirement to provide low power, and the deal was that if your aerial was mounted higher than 7 meters from local ground level, then you were to attenuate your transmit signal by 10 dB, so you became 0.4 of a watt. I'm not quite sure how many people did that. You know, they rescinded that about 6 years later. So, but you know, radios with low power switch is useful. If you're in a convoy of cars, you're not blowing each other's windows out, and whereas you start transmitting bumper to bumper, you do blow each other's windows out. So, and not all sets have got RF gain, have they? Now, so we've done that. Let's see whether the meter also says 4 watts. It says 5. The meter adjustment is that one. It's now about 6:15 in the evening, and I'm trying to get on with this. Yes, I mean I should have finished work ages ago, but if I can get this tuned, we can get an on-the-air test done with Mr. Chippy when he does his rounds at 7:30. He likes to go shopping at 7:30 and get the Aldi and Lidl clearance bargains. Good. So that's that. Deviation. 1, 2. It's a bit over the top. It's about 3.2. Just drop that down a bit. Let's try it there. 1, 2, wall. That's it. Don't like to ever exceed 2.5, so I'd like it to keep between 2.2 and 2.5. So that's it. We've done the transmitter other than checking it's on frequency. So I've moved the camera over to the frequency counter, or switch to that camera, whatever we're doing. It should be 2779.125. It's slightly low. We'll just adjust the little trimmer next to the capacitor. The trimmer capacitor next to the phase lock loop chip. Just pop that up a bit. That was well within tolerance. But there we are, that's now done. So next we'll set the signal generator for channel 20, 2779.125. And we'll switch to the, no we won't, we'll switch to the oscilloscope, which I will also turn on. So as ever, we will set the detector first. You can just hear 0.3 of a microvolt coming through. So what I've done, I've got the signal generator on channel 20, 2779.125. We've got 9 S9 equivalent, which is 100 microvolts. So we'll just turn the volume until we get a meaningful trace on the oscilloscope. The oscilloscope is just simply across the loudspeaker, the extension speaker we've got plugged in, and all I need to do is to peak the detector coil for maximum. It was absolutely spot on. On this Maxon chassis, it can drift more than some other sets do. So we've done that. We'll go to the cyanide meter. We'll switch that on as well. And right now, what have we got? 0.6 of a microvolt for 12 dB. And it's supposed to be... Let's see what it is supposed to be. They're doing it at 20 dB, which is a bit bizarre. So for 20 dB, we've got 1.3 microvolts. They want it to be better than 1. So anyway, here we go. We'll tune this. I want about 4 dB showing. The idea is you have your signal on your signal generator as low as is possible, so that it doesn't saturate the receiver. Because if you did that, you wouldn't be able to tune it. So, there we go. I'll just go through this front end. No difference there, so that was peak. Yes. We can drop the attenuator. Wow. I'm going to go through it again with it being quite a way out on a couple of these. I'm going to increase the signal for that one because I can't see any difference at the low signal. They just haven't got the time at the factory to spend the time I have. I would say it's 20 seconds probably for the whole tuning. They'll just have to they'll have a needle on an instrument. They'll just have to have it doing that, and then it goes on the conveyor belt. Whereas we can spend a few minutes doing it. So let's see what we've got now. So for 20 dB, it's still 1.3 microvolts, but we have increased the signal, the sensitivity dramatically. So we can now, let's look at 12 dB to be fair. Let's look at 12 because that's what we're normally working on. So for 12 dB, the radio is doing it's doing 0.5 of a microvolt. It was doing 0.6 before, and for 10 dB, it's doing 0.41 microvolts. So that's 0.3, which we can hear. We can hear it down to 0.15 of a microvolt. So it's not giving us quite the 20 dB that the manufacturer would have us expect, but that's simply down to noise. It's not down to the fact the thing's insensitive. Perhaps if we changed 30 capacitors in it, it would bring it down. But these sets are not prone to have duff capacitors, unlike Unidens. So here we go. S9 is reading plus 30. We've got the meter adjustment on this particular model, so we can adjust that. There we have S9. Squelch. So we're going to go to full squelch. I'm now going to set the signal generator for... I want the squelch to come in when, or the squelch to release when I get to 100 microvolts. So 1 microvolt, 3 microvolts, 10 microvolts, 30 microvolts, 100 microvolts. Silence. So we need to adjust the preset until that comes in, because it's been fiddled with at some time in its life. Okay. So we'll go back to 30 microvolts, 10 microvolts, and it comes in at 100. And the whole thing should now be in kilter with itself. So we'll turn the signal generator to standby, we'll turn the squelch down, set threshold on the radio, signal generator on, and it's straight in. So, it's coming in at what? 0.95 of a microvolt, and it's going out at 0.65 of a microvolt. So it's a lovely squelch action. There's nothing worse than having a squelch that takes 10 dB, and we've had that on some sets. 10 microvolts to open, and not good. So that works great. So other things to check. So if we go into local mode, the RF gain should operate. Let's turn the squelch down. And in the DX mode, that doesn't operate. We have a filter, which is it's just a tone control, and then it should work in public address mode. So we'll put the extension speaker into the PA socket, testing 1, 2, and it works fine. Okay, we're done. So we'll put the lid on that. I found a little sliver of solder, and you know I'm from Yorkshire, and Yorkshire people are well known at being tight. So we'll just solder it up with that bit of solder. Or is it that I can't be bothered to go in Mr. Chippy's workshop, where he's got my radiogram, my customer's radiogram, gratiating his bench. There we go. Just switch it back on. Unplug the extension speaker. And it works. So that's all 4 of this customer's radios now done. So we'll be moving on to box sequence 2 when we next do some CB radios. I say we are only doing 1 per week, and we have probably about 12 in for repair. So that's, you know, like 3 months worth. So the whole concentration at the moment is on the organ restoration. And we're just waiting for the floorboards in the building. That doesn't stop us working on that bellows, which we have been working on in another one of the workshops. We are waiting for floorboards, and they've actually arrived in the country. I think they've come from Norway. Obviously we can't grow trees in Britain, so there we are. So hopefully they will come. We'll get those down and get them stained, skirting board in, and then we can start installing that organ's building frame. Whoops! No, we don't have a blower for that organ. We left it in the church we got the organ from. The church is nearly 50 miles away. It was in the basement, and it would have been costly to go back with hire vans and staff to take that out, so it was abandoned. So it's actually cheaper to put another blower to it. The only blower we've got kicking around is 3-phase. We have single-phase electricity, so it sounds like it's going to be fun with a 3-phase inverter. Right, let's get this on the aerial, and then we'll be ready for a Mr. Chippy test. A Mr. Chippy test. Turn the soldering iron off, turn the test set off, turn the other gear off, save some electricity. One on a Roger. That's going to be about 35 miles away. So is that. We're basically 7.5 miles from the nearest town, 35 miles from the nearest city. 19 a Roger. No, nobody out there. Right, well, it's done, and we'll do a scratchy corner test later, and that's another nice radio back in the land of the living. Thank you for watching the Midland 3001 from 1981.